It's time for the Bookie and the Better Show. If you're a sports fan, now it's time to play the odds and make every bet count. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service. Now introducing Rob Kowalski, the Bookie, and Randy Wyke, the Better.
Welcome back to the Bookie and Better Show. Once again, I am your host, Robert Kowalski, joined by my best friends, Nick Schulte,
hey.
Randy Wyke.
Hey, Rob.
Well, after a fun episode from last week where we had on the folks from the Reno Cornhole Club, I'm going to get back to a little bit of some of the things that I've had. Not exactly the biggest news anymore, but hey, look at you, Celtics. Champions again. Banner number 18 rises. Gentlemen, the Celtics, a perfect 15-0 in the playoffs when they made more threes than their opponent. Little stat of the day for you there to start off the show.
I feel like that's kind of a weak stat. I mean, historically speaking, the team that usually makes the most threes probably wins the game. I'm just going to go on the limb and say
dovetail. My next thought was that teams overall were 60-17. That's almost a 78% winning clip when they won the three-point field goal column. That's an NBA record, by the way. The Celtics used the three ball more than any other champion ever.
Yeah. Well, and again, the old philosophy, you can live and die by the three. Obviously, the Celtics carried that throughout the playoffs, and we're able to maintain it. It's tough to play every game and shoot 36, 37% from threes. It is. And even with the NBA, you look at the collegiate level, NBA is a little, 3 feet farther?
Yes.
Hey, on the Kowalski 4000 over there, do you have a stat for what was their offensive rebound percentage?
That actually, I should have looked that up and gone a little bit deeper, because what they did in a lot of people can say, oh, well, who'd you really play along the way? And you didn't really get challenged until the finals. It's kind of the way it's supposed to be. I think actually it wasn't until the NBA finals that they did not have the best player on the floor. It was Luka Doncic was the best player on the floor at any moment there. However, a 16-3 playoff run. There's a full sheet of historical records that they broke, not only in the regular season, but in the playoffs. Congrats to them. Gentlemen, live odds from the Book of Baldini's to win the NBA Finals next season. I will offer you up the Milwaukee Bucks at 10-1, the Dallas Mavericks at 9, Minnesota Timberwolves at plus 850, the Denver Nuggets plus 750, and the Celtics, defending champs, 3-1.
3-1? I'd still take it.
That's great.
I'd hope to get a little more action on that. I was thinking plus 550 or something.
No. 3-1, yeah. And you're saying, yeah, that's a good bet.
I think we might be seeing a three-peat team.
Well,
here, but
keep in mind, there's two elements to repeating as a champion, whether it's football, basketball, baseball, any sport. One is age. And again, Celtics, the vets, I mean, they've got some youth.
Some.
Yeah.
They've got all the youth.
So if you look at that as a positive for the Celtics, that's one. Two, what are you going to lose in free agency? I mean, because that is a factor nowadays.
Maybe Drew Holiday, maybe.
Yeah. And again, he had a decent series as well.
He had a great series, I thought.
Taru. And I think the other one that you've got to consider, in any sport, it's tough to repeat. And you look at the Celtics, who again, when beginning of the playoffs, I said I still like the Western Conference, although no question they had the most depth. You got to have three scores. And again, you look at Milwaukee. Milwaukee's definitely there's an age factor.
Okay.
So if they don't have Middleton, what are they going to do with him? They've got some age there. Lakers obviously are out. They only have two scores, and now
they don't have a coach.
They don't have a coach. Well, they do.
Oh, I thought King James was coaching them. Hasn't he?
And you talk about the Clippers again. Age is definitely not on their factor. And you look at Denver. Denver still needs an added score. They need another guy that can give you the 20-7 type night. So, again, you got to believe the Celtics are going to be favored and probably are the lead horse if they can keep that team together, because youth is still there for them.
I don't think there's going to be much pushback against that 3-1 number. As a matter of fact, if let me go ahead and do the other way. no, the Celtics will not win the championship would be minus 380. Are you laying 380 that they will not win the championship?
No.
Randy.
Not a minus 380.
Yeah.
If that comes down, I would, because I just think it's tough to repeat.
So you would lay the 380.
So how about this? Do I get plus
300?
Plus 300 for any other team to win the championship besides Boston?
So that's the field. No.
Oh, come on. You made the bet.
No. So the Celtics to win the championship.
I'm going to take the no.
Very good. So you're laying 380. So you get the field. You get every NBA team at minus 380.
No. It's not minus 380 either way.
Yeah.
It is.
It is.
This proposition is a yes, no. Will the Celtics win the championship?
It's going to be a hard pass on this guy for that.
He's like the government agency when it comes
I'm not a government agency.
When it comes to the ballot every year, they twist those bond questions. That was a twist.
Listeners, can you please, in the comments below, and thank you for following along, please write down if I am trapping these two gentlemen. Celtics to win the NBA championship 2024-2025 edition. Yes, 3-1. No, minus 380. Is that anything resembling a trap, or is that actually a futures?
Oh, by the way, we're doing a fuel tax at 2.5 cents come November, but all the money goes to a great proceed.
All right, let me get off the parquet. On to ice. I'm moving away from this.
You want me to tell you how I would bet this if I was going to bet it?
Yes.
I would take the no, they were not going to win it.
Correct.
I would hope that in the midseason next year, they have a slump, and I can get them at 5-1, maybe 7-1, and then that way I'm covered either way.
I see what you did there. I like your middle thoughts right there. However, hope is not a business plan.
I keep trying, but I keep trying.
Let's move to the ice. Nick, at the very start of the Stanley Cup final, you said you had sources that said, look out for the Edmonton Oilers.
I know a guy that used to play in the NHL, and he said that Oilers were the team to beat. So
down 3-0, we are seeing, well, at the very least, a knock on the door of impossibility. Florida up 3-0 in this series. Looked like it was pretty much done until that cornered animal in the corner happens in like when it matters most. We saw it with we saw it with Dallas. Massive blowout in their elimination game. Edmonton, the same thing, and it came out, just ripped Florida right from the very beginning. Looked over last night, but then Florida came back, turned it into a hockey game until it wasn't. So Oilers, can they win the cup down 3-0? Nick, you can keep this short. I know what you said at the start, but please.
Well, what's the line? The live line right now.
Game 6, Friday evening at the Bucket Ball.
For them to win the championship.
Oh, right. 3-1. 3-1 to win the entire cup right now. You could have gotten plus 750. Not be that as it may, today's market price, 3-1 to win the next 2 games.
I don't know if I'd bet that, but I still think they're going to do it.
Randy Wyke.
Turn out the lights. The party's over. This series I'm thinking it's going to be a sweep. Florida, their goaltending, their scoring, and you mentioned the Celtics. The Celtics laid down in that game. They just went out there to walk through. Florida will not. And I'm telling you, they are the best team in hockey right now.
A very strong opinion there.
If there is a Game 7, is it at home or?
It will be at Florida. Sunrise.
I think they win this. What's Saturday's line?
It should probably come. There's no line now, but if it gets to a Game 7, it should probably come Florida minus 130, 135. So you're catching minus 120 tonight. Well, I'm sorry, not tonight, but Friday night in Edmonton. So it's about minus 117. Let's call it minus 120. Then a plus 120. So yeah, you're looking at 3-1.
Now, can you still bet it for the Panthers to win in 5?
Ooh, that's a good question.
Randy, we're in Game 6.
Well, you got. I mean, Game 6.
Yes, you could lay 360. Or you could just bet them tonight, or rather Friday night, and you can catch Florida at plus a nickel, plus 107, and you win the cup, plus 107.
Might have to look at that one.
Pricing.
Yeah.
Always matters.
Always shop.
A couple other things have come across, gentlemen, that we sometimes don't broach, but something really interesting is happening in the state of Florida. In our business, sports betting, we know that sports betting has been legalized in many, many states since 2018. Since the fall of the federal law that allowed only the state of Nevada to offer legalized sports betting. So it's been a bit now, but the Seminole tribe in Florida was allowed to offer sports betting through their platform, Hard Rock Bet. Things were going swell until a couple of organizations said, hey, wait a second, we'd like a cut of this pie as well. West Flagler and their representatives were the first to raise their hands in court in the state of Florida and said, hey, we'd like to offer up sports betting as well, please. So it went to court, and Florida federal court said, nope, we're going to pass on that. The compacts is what is the bond here, and so the Seminoles continued making the bets. West Flagler, of course, what do you do next? You go to your appellate. Appellate says, nope, we're going to go ahead and let Hard Rock Bet exist. And so here we are with news just...
It's not Hard Rock Bet to exist. They just want competition. They just don't want competition. They just want to open up a competing
They
book.
do not want a monopoly in the state of Florida. That's what they are stating. And by saying that would allow them to offer a legalized sports betting platform, whether it's retail or on mobile betting.
Last I checked, this is supposedly land of the free. So unless, we're communist, I would say, why not have a free market and allow competition with better lines and everything else?
The Supreme Court just recently came down and stated that West Flagler also will not be heard.
Sounds like West Flagler needs to pay some more money for lobbyists is what I hear.
So what's going to be the next step? Obviously, I've been following this very closely because how does this affect us? The ramifications could affect the state of Nevada very clearly. I said from the very beginning, it wasn't going to be legalized sports betting in Colorado or even Arizona. It's going to be our neighbor,
California's huge. I mean, you look at, who knows with economy and everything, but last I checked, it was still the 7th largest economy in the world just in the state of California.
Mm-hmm.
So they open that up, it's a game changer.
So exactly on that note, now I'll open it up to the both of you here. From the Pechanga Band of Indians, the conference chair of the Indian Gaming Association, Victor Rocha, stated, this is a quote from him, the Seminole Compact provides a role model for tribes that might work in California for online sports betting. So the decision puts it firmly on the table. It's the first time I've heard a quote like this. Continues, thus far, I think a lot of us in California have looked casually at what the Seminole Compact means for us. Now, we'll have to take a deeper dive. Theoretically and hypothetically, it's very good for 2026. So, with that, forget about just what we're looking at in the state of Florida. And by the way, to put a punctuation on this, this gives the Seminole tribe in the state of Florida a monopoly on sports betting.
Don't they already have a monopoly on casinos?
To 2051.
It's ridiculous.
2051.
Absolutely
they will
ridiculous.
be the only show in the state of Florida.
Can I get some Seminole blood?
You will get nothing.
I've not to dovetail, but never mind.
I want to be a relative because they're going, like you say, the monopoly, the revenues, the monies, and great for the Seminoles. I'm happy for them.
Compact's a compact.
But to your
it's
point,
black and white.
It's going to spread, and you're going to look at all tribal
right.
lands.
So there's, I think it's 38. I think we're up to 38 plus DC, so 39 states that can offer sports betting.
Mm-hmm.
Now just look at the remainder of the contiguous 50.
Yeah.
And just look at everyone that's got a compact, any tribe that has a compact, and say, well, here we are. Let's offer iGaming in some form or another.
Yeah.
I always thought that it was going to be California that might start putting some real dents. I mean, it's probably, both of you gentlemen, you could probably speak far more better on this topic than me from a gaming perspective. Not many people coming across I-80 or name your location to play in the state of Nevada because it's not exactly like we've got the best show going anymore, Nick.
Mm-hmm. No, but I kind of go back to what I said originally. I'm always a free market guy and open it up and More competition is going to make better products,
Right.
better.
Well, and look,
Completely agree.
Look at when Indian gaming started, especially in California.
Oh yeah.
We took an initial little dive, but Nevada bounced back.
Right.
The alcohol thing, they weren't serving alcohol. So I'm sure there'll be some limits, wagers, especially when it gets sportsbook wagering. But short term could definitely probably impact, especially if California gets it for Nevada. But long term, I think we bounce back.
I was actually going to say you gave up one example. Why does that happen, actually? So short term, you'll see a shock to the state
curiosity
system.
thing, yeah.
There we go. That's what I was looking for. That's exactly what I think is going to happen as well. Now, whether or not they're going to have a superior product, we're going to have to just wait and see. And it's going to be here far, far sooner than later.
Reno has a lot of fun. Reno, Nevada, Sparks, Nevada, where we're all from. Come and visit us because it is a lot of fun. Excitement rolls in Nevada.
All right. So obviously I'm putting a bookmark in that. Very, very important. A little bit of information I'll be following along as we continue to move forward. So what better way to put a cap on all things contracts and what's legal and what's not than to go one higher step into this tower of collegiate sports.
Oh, gosh.
Just wind them up.
Here we go.
How about the Arizona Bowl? Randy, do you know who's the sponsor of the Arizona Bowl this year?
I did not know.
It is a person. His name is Snoop Dogg. Yes, Snoop Dogg is now going to sponsor the Arizona Bowl. NIL, there's a video out there for those of you who want to go ahead and find it very easy. He's sponsoring this year's Arizona Bowl, which recently announced that the game is going to become the first to provide name, image, and likeness deals to competing players. Could that model be the new norm for all bowl games? That's a decision that's really up to each individual bowl game. So it's clear that it's on the table.
So we went from Jimmy Kimmel with the LA Bowl to Snoop Dogg.
To quite possibly the Kowalski Bowl.
Oh, really?
You going to sponsor one?
Wait, it's like $2 to $5 million, right? For how much is it to become a major sponsor for Arizona Bowl? It's one of the lower
I don't know. I don't know.
One of the lower bowls.
Well, it is.
$2 to $5 million.
Look, we know this for a fact, and we've seen this, right? Last season especially, bowl games were riddled with players dropping out either to prepare for the NFL draft or to enter the transfer portal or to find a new school, right? NIL contracts could keep more players in those postseason contests, but finding the funding could be complicated.
And you know what's going to happen this year? Okay, we have the athlete when he gets to bowl season that
Student
doesn't
athlete.
want to risk injury to go to the draft.
Yes.
Now, and you've seen a little bit of it this year, you're going to see more of it next year, trust me. Now you're going to have the athlete that once they get through conference season, they won't play in the conference championship and they won't play in the bowl game because you know why? I'm going to transfer to another school for more money. That is terrible. You might as well eliminate the bowls because
that's like saying
Eliminate the bowls.
You shouldn't take a job because the new job's going to pay you more money. I mean,
you go to a bowl game based on what you did through the season. Players, coaches work their tails off.
That's right.
Now you come to a bowl game, which, let's face it, it's minimal money compared to what these kids are getting. But for your school, for your alma mater, everything entailed, and you don't want to play because you know why? I'm going to go to another school next year. I don't really care about the bowl game. Is that fair to your teammates and to the they've made a mockery of this thing, and I'm ashamed at what's happened to college sports.
This is my favorite segment of the show.
Oh, always.
In the lyric of the band Extreme from Boston, Massachusetts, Randy, it's the almighty dollar.
Oh, Jesus.
What?
The way I see it going, and really, and I think it's just a matter of time till we get there. But we're going to have a very similar model to the European Soccer League. Where you have just take sports out of college completely. Have college be about what it should be about: going to school, getting an education, and then have basically levels of divisions that you can kind of go up through and takes care of.
I am all in on that.
Yeah, takes care of all this.
But
I am all in on that.
You forgot one element. We're now going to the level of high school athletes getting NIL money.
Yes.
Are you kidding me? A young man that's 18 years old.
Or woman.
Or female, exactly. They don't even really know what life is about yet, and we're giving them a chance to get this money where the wrong element, because those bookies that are out there, maybe some illicit
I take
people.
umbrage to that last comment.
Well, illegal bookies. And the wrong element gets a hold of them. Now they go into drugs. But there's money. There's scams. You know what? I'm going to throw the game tomorrow night because you know why now? I get another 100,000. And that's going to happen. I'm telling you.
But you don't think, all things being equal, that's going to happen regardless. And do you think a kid that's making $30 million a year off NIL money is more likely to throw a game than a kid that's making $0 that maybe his mom needs a heart transplant and they need a couple $100,000? Well, at that point, he's probably more likely to throw it.
You don't think the athlete that's getting, back in the day, $200,000 for his first year of his contract, oh my God. And you know what? I'm going to zoom to $2.5-3 million a year. You don't think that entails their spending habits and what they're going to do?
100%.
And how many of them have went down the wrong path?
Yeah, I mean, that's
not just athletes, actors.
I think that it's subject to a much bigger problem. We'll call it high school, and really what we teach our kids in high school, it's like, how do you buy a house? Oh, well, we don't need to know that. How do you pay taxes? Oh, you don't need to know that. How to manage your money. I mean, you see it all the time. You get kids that really have been living paycheck to paycheck because that's what they had to afford. Then all of a sudden their salary goes through the roof, and you're still living paycheck to paycheck. It's just a lot bigger paychecks.
Exactly.
So,
yeah.
I mean, we don't really put an emphasis on money management and training like that, and this is kind of the outcome you get. But I think that's a completely different topic.
Okay, so the big question I have now, here it is. What is Snoop Dogg going to offer these kids if they decide to play in a bowl game? Which I do like. Again, he looks at it the same way I look at it. Kids, why have bowl games? Because you're not going to go. So what is he going to offer these kids? Did he say publicly?
Not yet. I'm certain it's going to be a massive attention grabber, and I'm going to go and make it minus 50,000 that there will be other bowl games that will offer NIL money as well.
Trust me, if you look at last year, the amount of and I call them the blue crop, if you will.
Sure.
They didn't play. That affects a bowl game, that affects the spreads, and affects the outcome. So
don't you also think that affects the viewership, which is ratings, which is money, which is going to they're basically shooting themselves in the foot.
Absolutely.
That's awesome.
I mean, I talked about it at the beginning of the episode just look at the viewership for the NBA Finals this year.
This is so true.
I think
right?
people are just kind of fed up with some of this stuff, and
now,
I think they're going to lose a lot of things.
Randy White gets into the bowl season, and I've had very good luck the last 4 or 5 years in bowls.
From a betting perspective.
Yes.
Yeah,
when you bet every game, you're going to win some of them.
Yeah. Last year, I didn't watch 40% of them because, this athlete's not going to play. This athlete's not going to play. Who was it? One team, was it Florida State, or one of the teams had 11 or 12 guys say they're not playing.
Right.
Get back to college sports the way it's meant to be. And I bring this example up, and I think it's a perfect example. Nick Saban, the greatest coach ever to probably be a coach in college sports.
Sure.
Has said, you're not a football coach anymore doing X's and O's. You're an administrator. What has this world come to that everything's on paper now? And now you got to worry about whether this kid's playing next year or if this kid's going to come to you. I mean, how many athletes this year, I can name 2 in the SEC, that were at their high school gym signing their enrollment, the intent, and another university walked in and swayed them both. That is wrong. And this world, this is why we're in this situation, is because where we're at right now.
I think it's back to the Seminole thing. I mean, that's kind of the free market, though. I mean, now that this is open, I mean, you're going to see it's no different than pro sports, different contracts.
College had the excitement level that NFL doesn't see until the playoffs. Bring it back. Go back to the way we were. Now, I know we're never going to go totally back. Once you go, you're gone.
Yeah.
But make some procedures and guidelines with the player intent to make sure that they get their schooling first, which is what college was all about. And I thought back in my day, a scholarship was getting paid. I guess I misinterpreted that. But go back to where the excitement level, especially going to a bowl game. As a fan, I went to a lot of bowl games with the University of Nevada, and it was exciting. Exciting.
When's the last time?
Now, well, it's been a while for University, but we're coming back.
Craft Bowl? Like
2010, 20. Yeah. No, we were in one after that.
This is the wonderful thing about finding a topic to get the both of you to bounce back and forth. You're not debating against each other. You're simply presenting both sides. No. Nothing, and I knew I was going to get nothing but tradition from the Wyke side. The capitalist side, the new progressive side came from here. To call back to it, Nick, you said something really remarkable I want to call back to. It's like an Ouroboros effect. You have better competition. With better competition comes more viewership. With more viewership comes more dollars. What do you do with those more dollars? You pay the players. You pay the players. They want to play more. They show up. What happens? More eyes is more advertising. You see what I mean?
Exactly. It's most business owners, they usually reinvest in their business to make more money. So it's just
makes me want to cry. It just does.
But from a college perspective, I can see where you're coming from. I just think that this is the death of college sports. Oh, and I think that college needs to get back to.
And I believe Lynn Stevens said that last month.
Right.
I just look at it from, because I've been on college campuses, and you look at, the guys that are there to become doctors, the guys that are there to become, scientists. I
love that.
And they're in the worst dorms with the worst food. Then you look at your D1 athletes, and they got the red carpet rolled out for them. I don't care about a guy playing football. I want some guy to fix my heart later in life or something.
And I know I'm totally different. Like I have mentioned over and over again, I cry blue. I cry silver and blue. I went to that university. I cry that. And to be a lifelong Nevada resident, I support that university. Now, we all keep forgetting. With all these NIL monies and everything,
right?
Who is it in the end result is it going to affect? Us as fans. It has to.
Sure.
So then what happens? The guy that wants to bring his 3 kids to a football game with his wife, he's not going to be able to afford it.
But you could still watch on TV.
And some universities, it's that way now.
You see, this is you're bleeding blue. I'm bleeding another color for a whole other reason. I went to St. John's back in Queens. What is happening to this program in the last year and still into the coming season, I can't get enough of. So yeah, I want tradition, but I want to win. And I've got myself a winning program there at St. John's.
Example. Why is St. John's so exciting now?
Rick Pitino.
There you go. Again,
keep going. Well, how did we get Rick Pitino?
The reason we have NIL monies, number one reason was they were throwing it out that if the coach and the university make so much money, the players deserve it. But yet, you just said the magic word. Why is St. John's right now so excited?
Coach.
The head coach.
Yes.
Exactly my point.
Spend money.
Coaches.
Spend the money.
Well,
yeah, but I mean, all things being equal, you can make the exact same argument about Caitlin Clark. She's done more for women's sports probably than anybody. I'm just looking at viewership and follow.
Okay, that's fine. Tiny bit of recency bias, but yet she's definitely put the game on the map
100%.
More. I'm going to continue to say I am the least qualified to talk about women's sports.
Sure, me too.
Anywhere. I'm thrilled to see how much more interest there is, and I hope it continues to grow. But you're right. When she came on, and look at how she's clearly, the WNBA's put in more Indiana Fever games than any club in the first 3 weeks.
I feel like they go harder than LeBron James the way they throw each other around.
Now, to your point, Caitlin goes into the WNBA. Didn't half of the franchises raise their ticket fees?
Oh, yeah. I think they all I know
again,
all of her
end
games are selling out.
Us.
TV,
and as a fan,
TV.
And that's what I have a hard time when you go to college. The whole idea of going to college. Granted, if you get a scholarship, you're an athlete, but you still want to graduate from that university. I always thought, but nowadays it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
So what's going to happen to the graduation rate? Have we seen anything come out after the first couple years?
I really, Nick, you nailed the absolute point on this episode's head with just the idea that what we're looking at is the smart thing to do is just to separate sports from the collegiate world and just have the European or maybe the global idea of just having top tier one. And then, like, for example, let's just look at soccer in Italy. There are like 6 different tiers of soccer, right? So you could go in at any point and eventually you can end up playing as a pro, or you can get yourself a degree and do something that's not sport related.
And I think that's better for the player long term, because how many D1 athletes are there in college football? How many of them get drafted?
Exactly.
You know, and actually by doing it this way, you might not have the talent to be at an NFL level, but maybe you can still make
But again,
10 years.
Wasn't going to college, getting a degree. That's what we keep talking about.
Nick gave you a solution then.
I know.
Yeah, but and to be honest, I think having a degree 30 plus years ago meant a lot more than having a degree.
Oh, there's no question.
Because how many people had a degree 30 years? It was now it's pretty much everybody's got a degree, and it's how many degrees are actually useful. Let's be honest.
I said it 2 years ago. The first thing you were going to see was young players in sports, college football and college basketball doing bad things and skimming games. What did we have the first 2 years? You had Iowa State. You've had all these universities now some SEC conference schools.
And
cheating. And why? Because they got a taste of the little money now they want.
And how was it discovered? Through sports books, Randy.
There you go.
Discovered it.
Well, there you go.
We are the ones to put out all of this fraud
it's gonna
into the light.
Worse, and
we'll be there for every incident.
I just
we're the ones that find out.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, again to NCAA, can you go back to like 1978 when you're giving out these MUNs, because they're going to 2016? Any athlete that's played college sports, can you go back farther and farther?
Nick, what was your final thought?
My favorite sports game of all time is NCAA football, because I love to get that game. You start as a kid in high school, you play it all the way up, and then I'd buy Madden and I'd import that player into Madden and play all the way through. And I haven't been able to do that since 2013 when this whole name, likeness, and everything came. But this next year,
yes,
NCAA 2025, I'm all excited for.
To go to Notre Dame Stadium and watch Notre Dame play, or Ohio State and Michigan, where you're over 100,000 people. That's college sports excitement to me, and we're losing it.
I still love the time where you almost fought the entire Colorado State football team.
Norvell, you hear that? When you guys were coming off the sideline, I gave you an earful, didn't I? Act like you've been there before.
Can we do an NIL challenge, like you and Norvell boxing? We can pay-per-view it.
I'm ready.
We can do commentating.
I am ready. If he's ready, I probably can only go 2 rounds in my heart condition, but I'm ready.
Is this sanctioned? Can we get in a line?
You know, I promise everyone, we're going to actually come back to some more of the bookmaking that are involved in these episodes. That's going to be next time. So, gentlemen, some homework.
Gotcha.
12 teams in the college football playoff. Let's build a fun little ticket. I'm seeing these are pretty popular, where you're picking champions across sport, everywhere. And you just build up a ticket, and you could end up seeing tickets going to 70, 80, 150 to 1. Let's go and cover college football, pro football. Let's find a World Series pick. I'm going to pluck you on that. And, let's keep it current. Yeah, we did baseball. We'll do college football, pro football.
Are we picking the bracket of 12?
You throw WNBA in there too?
Champion.
Just picking a champion.
Yeah, sure.
Okay.
Sure. Surprise me. That's our show. Thanks so much again for listening in. Hope you had a good time. If you liked what you heard or seen, don't forget to like and subscribe. Bookie and the Better Show for Randy Wyke, Nick Schulte. I'm your host, Robert Kowalski. Thanks again. See you again next week.
Thanks, guys.
Thank you for listening to the Bookie and the Better Show. New episodes post every Thursday on your favorite streaming service.